What's going on, everyone? It's been a solid second and a half, probably like a couple milliseconds, since I've even touched foot on the iPhone SE 2. Now, this is a phone that's been rumored to come out for like 40 years now, ever since the original iPhone SE. I think there was like a gap year, but probably ever since 2017, last year, we've been trying to push this narrative of like the iPhone SE 2 coming out because the iPhone SE was such a good phone. It came out in 2016, such a great phone. And I even made a video not too long ago talking about how if Apple releases the iPhone SE 2, they will ultimately be in a much better financial position than they are now. Because if you guys don't know, if you're not following the news, even if you don't follow my channel, there's a lot of bashing on Apple right now. And because of their business practices, because of their prices, they're so high. But on top of that, their stock evaluation is going down. And just their evaluation as a company just went down like crazy. I think Microsoft surpassed them for a little bit too, which isn't the end of the world. I think this is all temporary. As long as Apple follows my plan, Apple, I'm telling you, you just have to follow what I say and your company will grow, all right? If you don't believe me, ask Phil Schiller. Phil Schiller, you still haven't responded back to my DMs. I'm kind of salty about it, but if we can get Phil Schiller to collaborate with me on a video, I would literally be the happiest girl in the world if Phil Schiller just collabs with me. So Phil, I know you watch my videos, just DM me back. I really appreciate it. But before I go and delve into the iPhone SE 2 and what we could possibly see, I want to talk about the iPhone XR once again. Now you might be like, what the heck? This guy talks about the iPhone XR all the time, but what does that have anything to do with this? Well, I think the iPhone XR really dictates the future of iPhones in general, okay? Now, Apple right now is in a very weird situation, like I said, and the thing that really kind of surprised me was how pretty much transparent they're being about how badly the iPhones are selling right now. They recently just did that increase in trade-in value, so they were kind of being deceptive on their front page. I don't want to go too deep into it now. I'll make a whole separate video talking about it, but it's just a whole little weird situation that they're going through now with the iPhone XR and everything. So they never really did something like this before. They've done give back programs, they've done trade-in values and everything, but the iPhones usually sold themselves, right? So it's really weird that Apple has to go and do way more marketing and have to like shut down production for them because they have so many excess of them left over. So it's like they don't really have too many choices here. So they have to just sell as many as they can because pretty much the iPhone XR is not really able to sell itself because of the pricing, because of everything, okay? So in my opinion, I think the iPhone XR is eventually going to shift Apple into making better decisions. Now, I'm not saying they were making horrible decisions before, but if there's anything they can learn from the iPhone XR, it's what not to do with the phone, in my opinion, and I'm going to make a whole separate video talking about it, the iPhone XR. I've done 30,000 videos on them, but this last one is probably going to be way more important. So because the iPhone XR was created and it was, I'm not going to say it was a complete flop, but it wasn't a success as much as we thought it would be. I think Apple is now going to make better business decisions, and because of that, the iPhone SE 2 could happen. A lot of people want it. I don't think the iPhone XR is the iPhone SE 2. I think the iPhone XR is way bigger. If they made it smaller than the iPhone X, I think it could have been a success. But because of that, that's kind of an introductory and some new revelations that have happened since that first iPhone SE 2 video that I did about like a month ago. So I made some more renders, okay? And the iPhone SE 2 will most likely look like what you're seeing on the screen now, okay? It's going to have a notch, like I've stated before. It's not going to have a home button, and it's going to have almost no bezels. It's pretty much going to be like the iPhone XR bezel, like the little thickness. It's not crazy or anything like that. Now, it's going to have Face ID up top. Now, you remember when I said, I made a video not too long ago talking about how the next year's iPhones in 2019 are pretty much almost guaranteed to bring Touch ID on the phones? Well, the iPhone SE 2, if it does release, is not going to be one of those phones. The iPhone SE 2 will 100% not have Touch ID 2 or Touch ID or whatever. I just don't see that happening at all. And the main reason being is because I would actually prefer it not to be on it. If they were able to do it and have the same pricing, then that's fine. But the fact that Apple's probably going to jack up the prices even more if that's the case, I would rather them just leave it out and keep the pricing lower and just keep it competitive as that. So that's kind of where we're seeing in terms of the outside. The screen will honestly probably be around 5 inches. I would probably put it like 5.1 inches, which is bigger than the iPhone's 8 screen right now, but in a smaller form factor, so you're not really giving up too much. So that's a good thing because you don't have too much bezel around the screen. So that's kind of where I'm going to leave that. The screen will probably be 720p as well, around 720. Maybe it'll be 750p. It's not going to be a super high resolution screen either. I'm not going to say it's going to be 1080p or anything like that. I wouldn't even be surprised if like the iPhone XR's resolution of their screen comes out to something like on the iPhone SE 2, but I'm not even expecting a 1080p panel on the iPhone SE 2. And it's going to be an IPS panel. It's probably not going to be an OLED. There's no way they're going to put an OLED screen on a phone that should be cheaper than the iPhone XR. And actually looking at the front and staying on there, the front camera is probably going to be 5 megapixels. The original iPhone SE had a 1.2 megapixel camera, so I would imagine they're going to keep this probably up to this 5 megapixel count. And looking at the back camera, I would assume it's going to be 12 megapixels. I think it's only going to be a single sensor. I'm probably showing you the iPhone SE camera now, but I don't know what they would do with this sensor. I can't see them doing like an iPhone 10 and XS and XS Max type of thing. There's no way they would do that, but honestly, who knows at this point? They might go ahead and throw a dual camera setup on there, who knows? But it's probably only going to be one sensor. Now, inside, I would probably imagine it having either an Apple A11 or Apple A12 chip. There were rumors a couple months ago that it would have the Apple A10 chip, but there's no way Apple would do that now. That was the same chip that was in the iPhone 7, so I don't think there's any way they would do that. I think the Apple A11 chip is probably the lowest they would go at. That's the same chip that was in the iPhone 8, 8 Plus, and iPhone 10, and it's not a slow chip at all. It's a very, very fast chip. The iPhone 10 is extremely fast, dude. Even the iPhone 8 is still an extremely fast phone. If you could just take the iPhone 8 internals and just put it on a better looking body and in a smaller body at that, I think, dude, this phone could sell itself in no time. I think that's a common complaint. It's just they wanted a smaller phone, in my opinion. So that's that. I think it's going to have the Apple A11 chip. Now, it's probably going to have 3 gigs of RAM as well, which is pretty respectable. You know, I know the XS and XS Max have 4, but the iPhone 10 had 3, the iPhone 8 Plus had 3, and these phones are completely capable. If you don't even know, the iPhone 8 has 2 gigs of RAM, which isn't slow at all. Obviously, you can tell it's still a very fast phone. It's just with more RAM, you can pretty much be able to do more, but not even that much more. As long as you have 2 gigs of RAM on an iOS device, you'll be set. So if the iPhone SE2 has 3 gigs of RAM, that's perfectly fine for me. I'll take it, and that's completely feasible on Apple's standpoint because it's not really anything crazy if you think about it. I mean, 3 gigs of RAM, that's like they've already done it in the past. So I think they could do that on this phone as well, and it'll be able to handle it just fine. Now, the crazy thing is, though, is that if it does have the A11 chip, kind of going back to it, it will probably end up getting the same software updates as the iPhone 10, okay? Even though it came out after. Now, this is just speculation. This whole video was speculation, but this kind of leads me into the original iPhone SE as well, because is the iPhone SE going to have the same software release as the iPhone 6S? Or the same software release as the iPhone 7. So as we know, it's getting iOS 12. It's going to get iOS 13, but the iPhone 7 is probably going to get iOS 14, at least it should. But I don't know if the iPhone SE is going to get iOS 14 or if it's going to stop at iOS 13 with the iPhone 6S. Now, the iPhone 6S could get iOS 14 as well. You never know at this point, but that's kind of that strange situation the iPhone SE is in, the original one. So in this case, if they do release it in the June or May event, whenever that is next year, I don't know if they would have the same software release cycle as the iPhone 10 or the iPhone 10s or even the iPhone 2019 version. Who knows? Like, it's just all over the place here, but that's only if they put the A11 chip on it. If they put the A12 chip on it, it's probably going to follow the same software cycle as the iPhone 10s and 10s Max. So that's kind of on the software side of things. Now, here's the thing, okay? It's kind of a crazy thing and kind of bringing back the iPhone XR here. I think the iPhone XR will probably go down in price, okay? To at least $699. That means you can go to the Apple store, you'll probably be able to pick one up for less than $699. I think it'll honestly be like $649. In some countries, they already are offering that. So they will probably follow that same price strategy in America as well for the iPhone XR. So that kind of makes me think, if that's the case, what will they price the iPhone SE2 at if they eventually release it? And so I was thinking, if the iPhone XR is $649 eventually, potentially, I'm not saying it will or will not, I'm just saying it could happen, what would they price the iPhone SE2 at? And I said this in the last video, and I think I was a little bit wrong. I think they would price the iPhone SE2 at $549 if it was released, okay? Now that's a humongous discount from the original price of the iPhone XS or even the iPhone XR. That's still like a $200 difference. I think the iPhone XR should have at least sold for like $699 or $649 to release with. They would have sold so many, it would be crazy. So that $749 price tag was way too much. The iPhone SE2, if it's priced at $549, I think that's a sweet spot. I mean, they don't really have to make any more new chips. They don't have to like do a new crazy design. It's pretty much the familiar stuff, the Face ID sensors. The A11 chip is already in-house, so I think it's completely feasible that $549 could be the release price for the iPhone SE2. So, and if it is $549, it'll be almost the same price as the iPhone 8 right now, and it would be just a little bit more expensive than the iPhone 7. They would probably honestly release it for the iPhone 8 price. So maybe something like that, or I would say around $549, give or take $50. And if Apple is even around the specs and price of this phone, of the video that I'm kind of explaining here, I think they might have a banger on their hands, man. Honestly, they could really make a killing off it. If it's $549, iPhone SE 2, smaller body than an iPhone 8, but bigger screen than an iPhone 8, dude, this phone could just sell itself in no time. So that's pretty much where I'm going to leave it at. Like I said, I haven't made an iPhone SE 2 video in a while, but I really think Apple could possibly pull something like this off, and I would be super excited, dude. I would be the happiest girl in the world. Like I already told you guys, if Apple could do something like this. So I want to know what you guys think. Do you think the iPhone SE 2 is coming? Do you think I'm delusional? It's not going to happen? Let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. But that is pretty much it. Hit that like button if you guys enjoyed the video, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber we get really does count. Also, do not forget, speaking about iPhone SEs, I'm giving away 2 iPhone SEs in December. I'm giving one away December 14th, and I'm giving another one away December 28th. If you want to enter this giveaway, which is still open if you're watching this in December of 2018, just click the first link in the description. It'll say enter my iPhone giveaway, whatever. Click that link and watch that video all the way through. It's completely free to enter, and I'm gonna ship it out to you completely free, all that stuff. It's just my way of saying thank you to you guys. We just hit 80,000 subscribers. We're about to hit 100,000 very soon, so I'd really appreciate if you guys could enter that giveaway as well. But also, while you're down there, check out the other links: my Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel. All that stuff is down there. I would really appreciate if you guys could check that out too. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.